What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls Podcast, presented to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. I'm Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. This is Big Dave. That's Big Dave. Don't cut to my single camera when I'm introducing my guys.
God, it must be so nice to have a single camera.
Yeah, it must be a thing. He deserves it. He deserves it so.
In no such way.
Tomorrow, one of you guys gets a single camera.
Yeah!
The man in the middle.
Man in the middle is Big Dave. He is at Pal BNWL Sports. Will the Go Gottlieb is at Will_Gottlieb on Twitter. Our pal and producer Joey Spathis is at Joey Spathis.
Child.
Get him to 800 people.
We're
we are
on the race.
CHGO_Bulls. Give us a follow as well. Happy Thursday? Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah. Kevin, is it Thursday? Yay!
There's
All
a
right.
thumbs up from Boss Man.
All right.
Bulls are off tonight, but we are here doing a show.
We are here doing
Could not
the
be
show.
happier about that.
Hey, everybody in the
So
chat.
this is a nice full house at the studio today.
Mr. Hernandez,
a whole bunch
how
of
are you?
people chatting with our
Sincerity UK.
Blackhawks people. We got Kev. We got Kev in the office, hard at work. We got Jake and Chris working over there on something that looks tailgatey.
That dude looked tailgatey.
Come to our Bears tailgate, y'all.
I was about
Sunday.
to be upset for a second because I looked in there, I saw the Greenwich Farms, right? And then I was like, wait a minute, where the hell is my water? And then I couldn't find my water. I thought they threw my water out. And then I saw it sitting on the counter right there. And so I put it right back in the fridge.
Yes,
Because I was going to march out and say, hey, coach, where's my water?
but Dave, who needs water when you have a fridge packed to the gills with Greenridge Farm meats?
That's a great point. But after that, you're going to need some water.
Yeah,
No, that's not how you roll?
yeah,
No, just the meat and that's it?
yeah.
Dave
Nice.
puts back water at an alarming
At an
rate.
alarming
That's
rate,
true.
according
An
to Joe.
alarming rate.
And Dave puts back water the way I put back sausages.
That's
Will,
right.
Will, you love that quote.
I
love
really do. That's like one of the best things I've heard.
I fully mean it. It's crazy.
Fully be-
I'm 100%
Water
serious.
intoxication, it's a thing. You can drink too much water.
Yeah, I like how Joey went from I really drank 3, but I like how I went to 5.
Yeah,
and then
every
went to
time
7.
it's like
You know what I'm saying?
multiple-
Yeah, it keeps going up, but I let it go because it's a good, Paul Bunyan.
It's a good bit.
Big Dave had
Great bit.
15.
with it.
He had
Great for the
15
content.
liquid deaths during the fourth quarter of
There you
the
go.
76ers game.
There's only
15.
12 in the pack, but I had
So
15
many.
liquid deaths. Y'all had 5 packs of liquid death? Are you hiding liquid death from me?
Talk
Who's
about
hiding
the Bulls. Talk about the Bulls before we lose our
I'm
audience.
starting nothing there.
Shout out to Joel in the comments who said, I'm going to watch the dishes and watch you guys.
Oh.
Way to multitask.
That's right,
That's why
man.
we're here for you.
We make
Awesome
the
human.
dishes great.
Yeah.
right.
We
Dishes,
wanted
dishes.
to talk today a little bit about what this Bulls team's identity appears to be through their first 9 games. We'll look at some splits, some stats, where the Bulls' ratings are offensively and defensively, starting unit versus second unit, and then also kind of take a look ahead to what the next 9 games are on the schedule and maybe parts of their identity that they need to shore up in these next 9 games as they sit at 5-4 through the first 9. Before that, though, we wanted to take a look around the league, a few teams that are catching our eye, and included in that is having an honest-to-goodness conversation about what's going on with the Brooklyn Nets and one of their star players, Kyrie Irving, right now. We have mentioned it in passing over the past couple of weeks as this has been going on, but we haven't actually talked about it, so we wanted to take the opportunity today on Bulls Off Day to do that. So the Nets are off to a rough start, 2-6, including a loss to the Bulls earlier this week.
Yeah.
Peck, can I jump in here really quick?
Sure.
I just want to say it's important to me. I talked to Will about it. It's important. Please just be. I'm Jewish. I'm behind the screen right now. I'm monitoring all the comments. Just leave if you got something that you disagree with, that's fine. Be civil about it. Please just be respectful of everyone in the comments. It really be upsetting to see. Just keep it PC, please.
Keep it civil. Well said. No, absolutely. I mean, when it comes to stuff like this, that's not just about basketball, but about humanity. Obviously, the main goal is to be civil and to listen as well as make your points heard. So let's just for a simple timeline of events that we can quickly go over. Obviously, Kyrie on his social media had posted a link to this movie based on a book that covers a lot of ground, but obviously, as many people pointed out to Kyrie, had some pretty aggressively anti-Semitic tones and tropes within it. And Kyrie, of course, was immediately asked about it by many members of the media and seemed to be pushing back, standing up for himself, saying, hey, I'm not necessarily promoting this. This is something I saw, and I'm putting it out there. That one in particular post-game press conference he did with, in particular, Will, a good pal of yours, Nick Friedel, things got kind of heated, and Kyrie didn't seem like he wanted to answer any of these questions and continued to stand his ground on what he had been saying regarding this movie. And eventually, Kyrie, along with the Brooklyn Nets and the Anti-Defamation League, put out this big, long statement the other day. And we're not going to read the whole thing because it's quite lengthy, but you could see it there. You probably saw that in your Twitter feeds earlier this week, where it wasn't necessarily an apology, but it was a commitment from Kyrie and the Nets to each put $500,000 towards awareness and helping the cause of not only fighting anti-Semitism, but discrimination across the board to all of these nonprofits. So it seemed like maybe a step in the right direction for Kyrie, but a lot of people were saying it's not enough. He still doesn't seem to be genuinely apologetic about what he has said. You saw Brooklyn Nets fans sitting courtside at one of their games wearing these T-shirts, fight anti-Semitism. And then the Nets, this was the weird thing where they just said, okay, well, we're just going to not let Kyrie talk to the media for a while we figure this out and while we figure out how to deal with this from a PR perspective. Then, earlier today, Adam Silver released this statement. Do you have that one, Joey? Because people were wondering, hey, why is the commissioner not saying anything about this? So Adam Silver chimes in saying, Kyrie Irving made a reckless decision to post a link to a film containing deeply offensive anti-Semitic material. While we appreciate the fact he agreed to work with the Brooklyn Nets and the Anti-Defamation League to combat anti-Semitism and other forms of discrimination, I'm disappointed that he has not offered an unqualified apology and more specifically denounced the vile and harmful content contained in the film he chose to publicize. I will be meeting with Kyrie in person in the next week to discuss this situation.
Oh, wow.
After Adam Silver posts that, Kyrie is once again allowed to talk to the media, which he did, I believe, this morning after the Nets shoot-around, and was very simply asked, once again, by Nick Friedel, do you... I can't remember. I don't want to misquote Friedel, but I'm pretty sure Friedel was looking for a simple yes or no question when it comes to Kyrie and anti-Semitism. Joey, go ahead and play that video.
Again, I'm going to repeat. I don't know how the...
Hold on. Troubleshooting some
Pause.
audio. Don't know why it's not playing here.
Just got to turn that up. There you go.
You having anti-Semitic beliefs.
Is it the TV?
Again, I'm going to
Here, a little bit.
Here we go.
I don't know how the label becomes justified because you guys ask me the same questions over and over again. But this is not going to turn into a spin around cycle of questions upon questions. I told you guys how I felt. I respect all walks of life and embrace all walks of life. That's where I sit.
I think what people want to hear, though, is yes or no on that question. Yes or no.
I cannot be anti-Semitic if I know where I come from. I cannot be anti-Semitic if I know where I come from.
So that line, I cannot be anti-Semitic if I know where I come from. I think you understand what Kyrie is trying to say there, but a lot of people still frustrated with it's a simple yes or no. And the fact that he appears to be making it more complex than a simple yes or no when someone's asking you if you're anti-Semitic is what's frustrating a lot of people still, along with the fact that, as Adam Silver said in his remarks, doesn't seem like there's genuine apology of any kind.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna try to keep this one short because Will is the person I actually want to hear from. Plain and simple, he's screwing up. Like, he really is. He's screwing up. Kudos to him for the money that he gave. Let me start there. $500,000 to the Anti-Defamation League is a lot of money, and that's honestly a wonderful thing to do. And then the Nets to match that, so that's basically $1 million given to that, and hopefully some good could come from that money. That's a great thing to do. Even in the statement that they released, you know what I'm saying, just denouncing, saying I have love for all those. I thought it was done there. So it wasn't until I got that link sent from our guys in the group chat where I saw that, I was just like, okay, saying what you just heard, and I'm like, he's speaking in like kind of coded language, but this isn't the time for coded language. It was just time for plain English stuff. You know what I'm saying? They just wanted plain English on this, and that's all you had to give. Because what that does now is what's happening. Everybody now questions the sincerity of it now. Are you just giving the money to tell everybody to leave me alone? Here's some money, leave me alone. I'm not worried about this no more. Or do you actually truly care about it? From everything I've ever heard Kyrie Irving say or do, he always seemed like a sincere person, whether I agree with it or not. It seems sincere. That's what this, to do it like this, though, it doesn't feel that way. And that's why people are looking at it. And Nick Friedel hit it on the head with the tweet he had when he said, paraphrasing, many around the league were hoping that Kyrie Irving would say at least two things. I'm sorry, I don't have anti-Semitic beliefs. Neither one of those things happened. That's the main thing here on that. And that's why people are like, it doesn't seem sincere. It seems like you're just giving money to try to tell people to leave me alone. I'm not trying to change. I'm going to continue doing these kind of things.
There's a lot that goes along with this. And I think the first thing that you have to mention is like, it kind of starts with Kanye and Candace Owens wearing White Lives Matter t-shirts. Mm-hmm. And then Kanye going on this month-long rant of basically outward anti-Semitism, claiming that he's an anti-Semite, claiming all these things and owning it and taking ownership over it. And the idea that by doing this and by, like, to put it in his words, like trying to Me Too the Jewish people, it's normalizing this kind of rhetoric. And that's why Kyrie did what he did. And so you can talk about intention with what he's trying to say. And I do think that there's a message there where, like, he's trying to get across, like, look what's been happening to my people for all this time. And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. He's 100% true.
100% true, and it's important.
And he should be saying that. Like, that's what you should be using your platform to advocate for. 100% agree with that. And I would stand with him on that. But the way that it's come off and just the way that he has derailed that conversation, doubled and tripled down on it, and made life worse for himself, it's like, it's unbelievable at this point. So, yeah, I mean, just huge amount of respect to Nick Friedel for the way that he handled that. That's going to be like something that is taught in journalism classes at Syracuse and Northwestern. I mean, he just handled that like an absolute pro. And Kyrie just, like, I mean, from the very first point when they had the original back and forth, I mean, basically is just like a kid sticking his fingers in his ears and like yelling so he doesn't have to answer the question. He doesn't have to face the music. And when he responds that way, it's really hard to take any sort of apology seriously. And the Nets said nothing of substance. The NBA, until Adam Silver this morning, almost a week later, finally condemned that speech, said nothing. NBA PA, the Players Association, which Kyrie is a vice president of, said virtually nothing other than hate is bad,
right?
Which, again, is not a statement. It's just really disgraceful. It looks terrible for the NBA. It looks terrible for the Nets. They follow this up by hiring Ime Udoka, who's suspended right now by the Celtics for an inappropriate relationship and misbehavior with a female subordinate with the Celtics. I mean, the Nets are just looking like, I mean, I don't even know what the right word is. It's disgraceful. And yeah, I mean, I think the way that Kyrie is handling it is just completely missing the mark of what he's trying to say. And like I said, I do think that there is a message in there that his intention is to spread a positive message, but what he's doing right now is like pitting marginalized groups against one another. And I think that is so dangerous. And when you start doing that to one marginalized group, all of a sudden it opens up the doors to do it to others. And that's just not the way to move forward as society. This is the same thing we've been hearing for thousands of years in some form or another. And it's just disgusting and disgraceful. And for a guy that prides himself on his intellect to be able to miss the mark so badly, especially when you know what kind of platform you have and you've admitted as such, it's just beyond me that that nobody has. I mean, the NBA still hasn't said anything. Like, there's no fine. Myers Leonard lost his career for one statement like this. Josh Primo got cut, and we can talk about that. Miles Bridges just came to a plea agreement with prosecutors over his domestic violence case. Like, Kyrie's just, I mean, he's just playing basketball games. And Joe Tsai, basically, the Nets owner, tweeted, "This is bigger than basketball," and yet he's out there playing against the Bulls and scoring 4 points. But I mean, it's wild. It's truly crazy that that they haven't just cut him. Like, I'm calling for the Nets to cut Kyrie Irving. I think he just needs to be done.
And we did not yet mention, and we should, the clarification that Kyrie has since now finally taken down that tweet where he was promoting this movie, which is called Hebrews to Negroes. But that thing you said, Will, about the pitting marginalized groups of people against each other is, I think, a big key in all of this, because I think that's the part that Kyrie is not fully grasping, and why it's frustrating to people, and of course people who feel attacked or dehumanized by his promoting this specifically because of who they are, because it's fabrications, it's revisionist history, it's propaganda that has been debunked historically many times over, spanning generations, decades, a century, is a lot of the stuff in this movie and in this book that Kyrie is saying, well, hey, this is interesting. And that's, the part about wanting to be educating yourself about your heritage, where you come from, and having pride in who you are and who your family comes from. That is 100% respectable and should be applauded, especially for those marginalized groups.
And like we do, as a culture and a society, need to be better about that with
Right.
regards to African American culture and just Black history. I mean, it's not good enough.
But that's the point of this propaganda, and has always been the point of propaganda like this, is to pit these groups of people against one another.
Yeah.
And that's the part that it still seems like Kyrie is not grasping, because he's just continuing the problem instead of doing what he thinks he's doing, which is highlighting something to try to enlighten people.
What's also tripped me out is just reading other journalists like Nick Friedel.
There's been so many
Vince
good
Goodwill,
pieces about
Vince Goodwill wrote a great piece about it.
Job.
Also, Taylor Rooks. Hearing people say just what I was just specifying here on that was the sincerity. It seems like he was being passed a layup, and said, "No, I'm gonna shoot it like behind my back." You know what I'm saying? With my eyes closed or something like that. He was being like, people just simply wanted an apology. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you messed up. You say you messed up. Amari Stoudemire is one guy that came out, and he's played over in Israel. Mm-hmm. He came out and spoke about that too, because he's also one of the coaches of the Nets. You said those things, like, you made a mistake, you should apologize for it. That's really all it was, like, to be looking for it. If the people see the money, they get that. The statement that was cool, they just wanted to hear, yo, man, from your own mouth, like, yo, I'm sorry, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm anti-Semitic, you know what I mean? I'm not with any of this.
Right.
And there it is, but it hasn't been that. It's been just a lot of coded language, like I said, and it's got to be plain English. And that's why people are continuing to be frustrated by it.
And I think, to me, the sad part of it and the frustrating part of it is, like, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube after this. Like, even if he were to apologize, and I was talking about this with Joey, like, he walked back on the flat earth thing.
Yeah.
But, like, we still think of him as the flat earther. Mm-hmm. I think when you open the doors to this kind of rhetoric being normalized, it's really hard to go back from. That's why you see people holding signs over the highways in LA or displaying, Kanye was right about the Jews on
But this stuff has
buildings.
real danger associated with it.
Yeah, and you were saying in New Jersey,
yeah, there's FBI today about broad threats all across New Jersey to all synagogues. It's just scary shit.
And so when he frames it like, I will not be silenced, I will stand my ground, I'm not afraid of the microphones and the cameras, to me that's like, I can either get away with it because I'm Kyrie Irving and nobody can tell me what to do, or if, like, this stern talking to from Adam Silver is going to get him to change his mind, then the Jewish media was like they were able to silence me, and now I'm the martyr because, you know, I got fined for, you know, standing up for what I believe in. And so regardless of the apology, which I don't like accept, honestly, like it's just not an apology. I just think it's just difficult to move back from that. And that's why I say, like, I just think we need to be done with Kyrie, because it went from distraction to danger. And I don't know where you go from there. Like, I was looking at the Anti-Defamation League's site about this film, and it's just like how can you put
it blatantly quotes Hitler.
It says, I mean, like the sort of major tenets of it are that basically the Jews stole the identity of the 12th tribe of Judah, the last Israelites, which are the black people, are the last tribe of Judah, that they stole that identity and then sold them into slavery, and that Jews worshiped Satan and falsified the Holocaust and I mean, it's just like, it's insane. And so for somebody who, and like Joey, we were talking about this too, like, did he just not watch the film? And if so, why wouldn't you just say, like, I messed up, I didn't watch this, I didn't realize what we were talking about here? And again, I understand that there is meaning in what he's trying to say, and I want to, like, be open to that, but it becomes harder and harder the more he doubles down on it.
I just want to say it's important for people to not lose sight of the fact that there's a reason that for the longest time, like, fact is supposed to be accepted as what it is the truth, and so is history, and we're playing a dangerous game here when we allow people to just pick and choose what is real, what is true, what actually happened, what didn't. And when Kyrie is going to let himself, you know, for anybody listening, just don't. It's funny because he claims to be such a free thinker, and he's ultimately being spoon-fed. He's being exploited by these people who are tricking him to believing exactly what they want, and it's total bullshit. And just use your critical thinking skills. It's you know, this has happened before. Go read about Black history. Go read about Jewish history. You don't need to be told from people's opinion. Like, this is real things. This is history. Like, it's not about what Kyrie's opinion is about. Like, it shouldn't boil down to that. It should be taken for what it is, and that's fact.
That's the easy
and that's
response
so
to the
many
people
different things that we're talking about.
Of course,
nowadays.
you've seen whether or not they're necessarily, like, putting their support behind Kyrie, or at the very least are just disinterested in this topic, saying, well, it's just one person's opinion, so why do you care? That's the answer. You know,
right. This is not something that can be okay to be like, you know what? No, that didn't happen, just because I'm going to choose not to believe it, and I'm going to believe Alex Jones, and that there's secret societies in the United States, by the way, is another major anti-Semitic trope. Like, it's just bullshit. And it's like, I don't understand why it's okay to just be like, I just want to believe that, even though there's literally no basis, no logic, no fact behind it. And so let's just get back to what is real, what is historical, what is factual, and stop allowing everybody to go so sideways and just say, well, no, they're allowed to think what they want. That's bullshit. Call out bullshit for what it is.
And I do want to just, like, for me, like, this will be the last thing I say about it, reiterate that, like, this is about anti-Semitism, but it's not only about that. Like, this is the opening for hate speech about any group of people. And I feel like you need to shut that down before it starts. And, like, Kyrie wants to be this, like, world leader who is, like, embraces all walks of life and all this stuff, but what he's doing is dangerous for everyone. And I think that's why, to me, it's like, you know, I wasn't sure if I, like, want to talk about it. I wasn't sure how I would.
It's uncomfortable.
But, like, yeah, I mean,
I'm glad you did.
Regardless of, like, it almost doesn't matter whether you're Jewish, whether you're not. Like, it's dangerous for every marginalized group. And if that's who he wants to be the voice for, he's doing the exact opposite.
And once, I just want to say one more thing, and then I'm really done with this whole thing. But Money D has a lot to say in the comments. Like, you clearly are not. You might be of a different, like, that's okay. You know, I don't agree. But you're saying what? You guys weren't with Jackie Robinson. You guys said, go look at the history of Jackie Robinson, who was one of the biggest athletes at the time to be a massive, massive person who was outspoken against anti-Semitism. Like, go look at that. That's the history. That's the truth. He's one of the biggest African American athletes to be an advocate against anti-Semitism. And me and Will have said it time and time again, and I'm saying, looking right at Big Dave, none of us are here saying anything about comparing past tragedies, comparing prejudices. Like, nobody's
it just doesn't get
taking
you
away
anywhere.
from the plight of African Americans, from taking away from the plight of black people throughout the entire history of the world. We're not comparing. It goes without being said how awful that is, how big of a problem that is in the world. But it doesn't excuse, being outwardly anti-Semitic. It doesn't make that okay. And I think, just like Jackie Robinson would be, like, that's not how most people think.
Right. And I think, and then this will be my final thought on it, we can move on. The other thing that's been really frustrating for people to see from Kyrie, and professional athletes are, it makes me think of that old Charles Barkley commercial, I'm not a role model. They don't necessarily ask to be role models when their talents ascend them to this level of fame. Mm-hmm. And people put microphones in front of them and ask them questions, and not just questions about sports and the game they just played that night, but about world events and culture and everything else that's going on in society. And some athletes embrace having that platform, and some athletes shy away from it. And I think either one is okay. Mm-hmm. What is frustrating for fans to see is someone like Kyrie, who recently and often seems to speak out of both sides of his mouth. Even in that one post-game interview he was doing, where he, in the matter of a few breaths, said, well, it's important to me that I have this voice and I can, share this information and be a source of light and intellect for my community. And I'm paraphrasing there, but he said something along those lines about why he shares things, because it was being a leader in my community. And then seconds later says, well, I'm not promoting this. I didn't say I'm promoting this. You people in the media are asking me about it, and it doesn't mean I'm promoting it. So which is it, Kyrie? Are you glad you have this platform because you want to share information and help enlighten your community that means so much to you? Or is it not on you because, well, I just posted a link. I'm not promoting it. That's the part that I think is very confusing to a lot of people. Do you want to be that pillar, or do you want to shy away from it? Kyrie's kind of hedging on both while being very, inconsequential and unapologetic for something that he maybe accidentally and maybe not promoted that is very hurtful to a lot of people.
Marginalized groups need to lift each other up. They cannot tear each other down.
I just want to say thank y'all for speaking on this, Joey and Will, because you all were the people I wanted to hear from about this whole thing. That's why I was just sitting here listening. That's what I wanted. I wanted to hear
too. I mean, I think
what you guys had to say.
This is something that, like, nobody shouldn't have an opinion on. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, it doesn't matter whether or not you're Jewish in this situation. It doesn't just apply to Jewish people. This is about people and humanity.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Thank you, bro. Straight up.
Okay, so obviously it's a tough transition to go talking about things like that than talking about basketball. We are going to talk about basketball. This is a basketball show. But it's also a show where we feel we are privileged to have this platform.
Yeah.
We're lucky to have this platform. And when things like this are going on in the world of sports, you will not find us being the stick to sports kind of folks here at CHGO.
Everybody's from a different
us.
walk of life. You know what I'm saying? And this is how you learn. You know what I mean? Like, this is how you grow. This is how you learn. Just learn to be accepting and understanding of other people's beliefs and cultures and feelings and opinions. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I like doing stuff like this. So whether you got a lot to say or whether you're listening, there's room for it both. You know what I mean? Just as long as you grow from that and move forward. Like, that's what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And I see Fahim Divine, just real quick, one comment saying, so who's the Caucasian athlete that speaks against racism for African-American communities? There are countless examples of that. I mean, you just think back to the George Floyd stuff and members of the NBA. Of course, NBA players and coaches who are people of color stood up, but their Caucasian teammates and coaches stood
and that does
right
need to
along
be
with
said.
them.
100%. It does need to be condemned.
Absolutely.
And it does need to be condemned. And we would all say that. Will and I would be the first people to tell you there should be more Caucasian athletes that are condemning racism. There's no question about that. And the last thing is, those things don't. They can
They're
go
not
hand in
mutually
hand.
exclusive.
They can go hand in hand. We can do both.
You can do both. Yeah, it's true.
Absolutely. Okay, so after this quick ad break, we will get back and start talking about what exactly this Bulls team's identity is through their first 9 games. Thank you for listening to the first part of our show.
Word.
We appreciate it. We appreciate the platform.
Word.
Today's episode is brought to you guys by one of our new sponsors. It's ComEd. Chicagoans know it and love it. The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities we serve manage energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future.
What?
ComEd offers a wide array of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across our territory. Customers can inquire about how to upgrade outdated lighting to energy and money-saving efficient LED lights. Learn more about network lighting to operate your lights through your mobile device and track your facility's energy usage and more. Incentives have recently increased for indoor, outdoor lighting and networks lighting controls, making these projects even more cost-effective than before. So, why don't you visit ComEd.com/powering biz to start saving money and energy.
With a Z.
Once again, that's ComEd.com/
There you are.
powering biz, B-I-Z. To start a project, contact them at 1-855-433-2700. For more information, email businessee@comed.com or publicsectoree@comed.com.
Shady Rays.
I need some shady rays for these
Oh,
blinding
the
lights.
lights
in
are
my
blinding
face.
him. They're in his face. That's because he's a star. That's how that works.
You're the star. They're pointed directly at you.
Oh, no, but they're here for you, sir. The coiffness of the hair, it has to be this way. Because many people have never understood why sunglasses are so expensive. But guess what? Shady Rays feels your pain. You don't have to break the bank to get you a high-quality pair of sunglasses from our people at Shady Rays. They got you covered. Those premium polarized shades featuring world-class optical clarity, sustainable durability, and styles cater to everyone and every lifestyle. The best part about Shady Rays, they have the most insane protection program in all of eyewear, the Matte Peck Lost and Broken Replacements Plan. If you lose or break your shades on day one, tossing them, mad, whatever, or just rolling out of bed and hurting yourself and stuff like that, it can happen. They will replace it, no questions asked, and it's awesome. Even with that strong protection plan, they still manage to make quality that I can tell you right now is awesome. And you know who else can tell you this? Over 200,000 people. That's how many 5-star reviews they have on some Shady Rays, y'all. So come on and get down with it. Exclusive for our listeners, Shady Rays is running their deepest deal of the season. Use that code CHGO for 50% off 2 or more pairs at shadyrays.com. That is the buy one, get one free. What's that called, Matt Peck?
BOGO. Love BOGO.
You get 2 pairs for the low of 54.
Low BOGO.
Low BOGO, fo show. Redeem only at shadyrays.com, where you can find all of their newest and best shades. Because who needs them? The quaffness. Shady Rays.
All of us need them.
See, I like y'all. Both y'all look awesome in sunglasses, man.
Thanks, man.
Shady Rays
I've
should
never seen you
be.
in sunglasses.
I put them on, but you know, I got a lot of awesomeness happening right here.
Yeah.
You don't want to block the awesomeness.
You know
It
what
would
I'm saying?
be.
Yeah.
Just
How
certain level.
perfect would
It's
this
true.
be for Peck to be a personal sponsor, like the insurance quality? Like, oh, you ever get really pissed watching the Bulls play and
Yeah.
you snap the pair over your
Why you
just
think I
send
call it
them
the
right
Matt
back,
Peck
baby.
protection program?
Man.
That's the reason I call it that.
I'll tell you what, we're going to put that to the test.
Yeah.
We're going to put that automatic free replacement on Shady Rays.
We're gonna have the hat. We have the hat bucket, and then right next to it, we're gonna have the Shady Rays bucket. Even
Yes.
they might not like it if we're breaking a bunch of glasses. But
Shady Rays.
But it's there.
It's there.
The protection plan is there.
Buy one, get one.
So I plan on using it.
A lot.
All right, y'all. Bulls are 9 games in.
Yeah.
That's roughly first tenth of the season,
Yeah.
Crazy.
right?
It's 2 weeks.
I know. It's
awesome.
wild. They are 5-4. I think a lot of Bulls fans out there feel like we could be 6-3, maybe even 7-2.
Sure.
If you handle Washington and San Antonio. But It's okay.
I'm okay with it.
There's always going to be some rocky steps in the first, handful of games in the season, figuring out who you are, what you do well, what you need to do better. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. What exactly this Bulls team identity is through the first 9 games. We talked a lot about the quality showing from their bench last night in a good win. I think having one of the better second units in the league so far is definitely a big part of this team's identity. All-star caliber players, Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, your 1-2 punch, a big part of this team's identity.
Fact.
And then also some worrying trends about the way that this team has started games and the way that this team has closed games is a part, unfortunately, of their identity so far. But before we dive into some of these nitty-gritty numbers, I was just curious to get y'all's initial takes on what that answer might be, because it's a pretty broad question. But if you were to define who and what is this Bulls team based on what we've seen so far, 9 games in, what is that identity?
I would say that identity right now is their bench. The bench is the identity of the team. And a team that starts slow but comes back and tries to finish strong. For some reason, like you said, they keep getting off to these really terrible starts. And also these teams are just really, really ridiculously hot. Like, just hot like we've never seen. Like, there's some numbers for you right there. But I think the saving grace has been the bench. And I've sat here and said this in the preseason. I've said a lot about the bench and how it could be a top 3 bench in the league. And that's something I haven't said about anybody in the starting lineup. It's probably except Zach LaVine being a top 3 shooting guard or something like that. But the bench as a whole, I feel that unit is deadly, and they are looking like what I thought they would look like. That's why I wanted Alex Caruso to come off the bench for so long and just be a part of that, because he's the big part of that defense and the guy starting the transition. He's part of that death by 1,000 cuts style of defense that they play. But, yeah, I think the identity is the bench. Dragic definitely gives them stability at the point guard position, and Lord knows I love a point guard. And what he does out there is just, it's awesome to have. It really is, because they don't have anybody with that kind of skill set, whether it's starting or not, just not matured to that level yet. Ayo, I think, will get there. He's just not matured to that level yet. But, Drummond has been awesome as well. Derrick Jones Jr. has come in finding his role in there. So, yeah, I really think what they're doing, because there is no other second unit I've seen them go against that has been on their level. Whether they played up to it or not, it's different, but I don't think it's been a second unit that I feel that they've played that is up to their level yet.
I think you hit the identity of the bench head on. I think that's a perfect description. I will say I think that the team kind of has 2 identities, the starting group and the bench unit. And I think
Two-Face?
Two-Face.
Okay.
I think that's like maybe a little bit problematic, maybe not, we'll see. But 100% agree on the bench. They play fast, they play with purpose, they defend, they run, they're shooting a lot better. Just getting out in transition, doing basically all the things that Billy Donovan talked about the Bulls wanting to do this year.
Yeah.
The starters, I think, are still finding themselves, which is just another reason why this whole plan for continuity is a little puzzling to me. How can the one group that's still figuring it out be the same group that came back from last year? Not quite sure, but I think part of it has to do with the fact that they're not defending at a very high level. Zach has been in and out of the lineup. DeMar has had like 2 straight kind of stinkers, uncharacteristic. Vooch had a couple of hot games to start, but then kind of cooled off these last few games.
Yeah.
Patrick had a really slow start, has now started to find himself. So it just feels like they haven't really been able to get on the same page at the same time. You've seen moments from different guys in different places in different games. I think we'll get to the point where they start to level out and start to play some of their best basketball together. I think at that point we'll be able to assess really who they are.
Yes.
Whereas right now it just seems like a little jumbled in a way where, nobody's really sure where to go, what to do. And then, let's just like give it to DeMar and he can kind of create for himself, similar to last year. Whereas the second unit, like we've said, has plays with a purpose and an understanding of who they want to be and what style they want to play to, and have executed that. Awesome.
To a T. No, it's right. And honestly, Will, I think the reason that they haven't had that continuity yet, one is Patrick Williams still trying to figure out, where he belongs. Because even though he's the starter, only a 4-game stretch early on and then came back later in the season. Io is a different Io. You know what I mean? This is a different one from what we saw last year into this year. A little more aggression, definitely more vocal, you know, in those kind of ways. And you definitely mentioned Zach LaVine, you know, having that issue with his knee that you can still tell he's not comfortable on yet. By the way, when he comes down on it, how he still kind of tests it, you know, takes his time getting up off the floor kind of thing. He isn't there yet. And just seeing, like you mentioned, DeMar having 2 bad games, which we've never seen since he's been here. So it's all those.
He's averaging a measly 23 points per game.
Right, exactly. So it's those things that I think are messing with the continuity of the starting lineup so far. But the main thing is that I won't sit here and debate is that defense. And the starts they've been getting off too early, man, because it's got to be better.
It just has to be better.
It's got to be better.
We got some people in the comments also kind of wondering similar things, Dave, about maybe this starting unit and their numbers suffering maybe being a temporary problem.
Yeah.
Nobu Jordan saying, I think the issues with the starters are temporary. Adrian taking it a step further saying, do you guys think the poor stats from the starters comes due to the inconsistency from P-Will and Zach not playing in some of these games? Surely more consistent play from those two improves the starters' performances. You would like to think so. You would like to hope so, that maybe, again, continuity, Will's favorite word, comes and develops itself a little bit more throughout as the season progresses, and that starting unit becomes a bit more comfortable if it's a bit more finalized. Because, Joey, can you just pop up those numbers again real quick one time, the starters versus the bench? I mean, it's pretty glaring when you look at that. Your starting unit has a net rating in the negatives, not by a lot, but just in the negatives, and it's the 23rd ranked net rating in the NBA, whereas your bench is the second best bench unit in the NBA based on net rating thus far.
And, like, one thing I'll add to that is the swing there is, I think, 7.5. Just put the numbers away so I can't verify that, but that's like a 7.5 net rating is like a top 5 number in the NBA.
Right.
So we're talking about the difference between the starters and the bench unit being the difference between, you know, a average or slightly below average team to a top 5 caliber team.
Right.
It's crazy.
It is very crazy, man. And, you know, I called that on the bench. Just want to keep telling y'all that.
It's true. It's true, you did.
And they still aren't whole yet. You know, as good as they look, and as awesome as they look, Drummond is still not there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So once he gets back, that's just going to add more things back to that bench. And, yeah, they still don't have the whole team yet. Of course, Lonzo, you know, not being out there. So that's going to take one of the starters and put them on the bench to make the bench even that much more better.
They
so
go 12 deep.
Yeah, man.
That would
Get
be
me
wild.
excited. Don't do it.
Obviously, you know, as far as parts of your identity that are negative elements of your identity so far, those bad starts are a glaring one. Joey, can we look at these quarter-by-quarter splits? Because I think these are fascinating, and they tell a story that supports the eye test. Look at those Bulls' first quarter ratings. Offensively, it's a little bit better than it was a week ago. They've had some better offensive quarters. The defense, still atrocious.
Yeah.
A 125.6 defensive rating, which is second to last in the entire NBA, and that first quarter net rating very near the bottom as well, negative 11.1, 26th net rating among NBA teams in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Do we think it's a combination of like poor defense? You got DeMar and Zach out there, two, let's be honest, sub-defensive players, and maybe a little bit of luck on the side of our opponents thus far, getting ridiculously hot from deep? Or do we think it's an actual problem you can point to say, look, this team's perimeter defense is bad. Their rotations are bad. Their closeouts are bad. Thusly, teams are getting out to these red-hot starts against us and building these big leads that the Bulls have to climb back from.
Hit him with a thusly.
Yes, he did. He did.
Thusly.
Yes, he did.
Henceforth.
I don't think you can state that by not putting some of this on the people who are out there for the Bulls playing defense, obviously. Because as you mentioned, those closeouts have just been poor on the Bulls. I saw it getting better between, and I talked about it yesterday, between Pat and Io. I think their closeouts are getting better, and their nonverbal is getting better on defensive communication. There was a possession. Like it's hard for me to just break it down and describe it, but Patrick Williams basically was on one defender when that defender went to the top of the key to try to switch and get Caruso on the bigger man. Patrick Williams saw it coming a mile away and pointed to Caruso, said, no, stay with the dudes there. I'm taking this dude in the paint who was Zeller. And then the pass was thrown, and Zeller was not prepared for it because there was a huge rock holding him in the back, and he wasn't ready for that. So it's growing. But getting off to these starts,
Continuity, baby.
Yeah. They're moving the ball. These teams are moving the ball, and it's not like they're doing anything new. You know what I mean? Like, it's just basic basketball movement. Find the open shooter, and there it is. Man, we talked about in the pregame with the Hornets how they were, third from the corner shooting threes? Mm-hmm. And in that first quarter, you saw a lot of corner threes being attempted by this team. And I'm like, that's really what they do well. All you have to do is get out there on the shooter, and that's apply a little pressure for them. They weren't doing that early on. They did it later, but they weren't doing it early on. So, yeah, some of it's luck for sure, but luck is because you're wide open at the same time. So, yeah, as we said, it's got to be better in the first quarter. It just has to be better on that kind of defense.
Yeah, last I looked at this, and I'm trying to pull up the numbers here quick, the Bulls are actually decent at opponents' how can I say this? Opponents' attempted threes from the corner, so eliminating corner threes. They are 14th now, so about halfway through the league, but they're giving up a ton of above the break threes. And I think there's a big difference there, not only in terms of like the value of each of those shots, but just in terms of the way that defensive rotations work when you get into the paint on a pick and roll or a lob or a pocket pass or whatever it is. The help comes from the low man on the weak side, and the high man is supposed to split the difference between the corner and the wing and defend whoever the ball goes to. The priority is going to be always to remove the corner shooter.
Yes.
The extra pass is going to go to the wing.
Yes.
So I do think that there's something to be said for the fact that the Bulls are eliminating corner threes. That tells me they're doing a good job through the first part of that rotation to get out to the corner, and then the next pass, the second pass, whatever it is, that going to the wing is where they're giving up threes. I do think a lot of it is just luck. They're contesting at an okay rate, but I mean, opponents are shooting. Last I checked, like 45% against the Bulls on threes.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And Adrian and Nobu in the comments also both pointing out that they're even shooting a high percentage when the Bulls do get to those closeouts and contest those shots.
Yes, they're still shooting a high percentage.
Yeah,
so
they're
that's
shooting,
where the luck part comes in.
They're shooting 50% on corner threes against the Bulls, which is 28th in the league, and 38.5% on non-corner threes, which is 24th. So I do think I do think some of that is going to just regress to a more normal number, but also that's on the defensive rotations too, and closing out. And to your point, when Zach and DeMar are out there, it's just harder for those rotations to happen because those guys are just not as good.
Yeah, it's true. And it just has to be better. I heard my friend of mine tell me, he was like, yeah, but when Lonzo gets back, it'll change all that. Yeah, Lonzo affects it, but Lonzo's not here tomorrow. You know what I mean? I got to deal with this now, because we still got to keep this ship afloat, you know what I'm saying, while it's still going. And I just want to see the effort for it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm talking about.
They need to build something sustainable that they can slot Lonzo into and not wait around all year for him to maybe come back, which is what they did last year.
That wasn't fun.
Okay, real quick, and then we will come back to wrap up this conversation. 2 more words from our sponsors. Hit that thumbs up button while we're reading these ads for y'all real quick, and then we'll come back to finish this combo. NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball is back, so tip off the NBA season with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can make any $5 NBA moneyline bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Tonight, that could be Nuggets Warriors. Or no, I'm sorry, Nuggets Thunder. Warriors Magic just tipped off. And check this out. In addition to the usual bet, everyone can boost their winnings up to 100% with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. So go to that DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place a stepped-up same-game parlay today. With bigger payouts than ever, DraftKings Sportsbook is where I go to bet on the NBA. And don't forget about that awesome deal. Any $5 NBA moneyline bet, and you will win $200 in free bets if your team wins with promo code CHGO when you sign up your account at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Pins and Aces, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to make this quick because Pins and Aces is the official golf apparel partner of CHGO. We love our Pins and Aces gear, and we get tons of compliments. They're talking about this man. Gets tons of them compliments right there on and off the course. They make those amazing polos, those hats, those golf bags, and even their favorite Matt Peck beer sleeve. That innovative product that allows you to store 7 beers inside your golf bag and keep them drinks frosty cold the entire round. So check out pensandaces.com. Use the code CHGO. Get yourself 15% off of your first order and get you some free shipping. Why not? pensandaces.com. Look good, play good. All good.
Hell yeah. Okay,
So good.
when you when you think about this Bulls team moving forward, rocky 5-4 start. At least you're 5-4.
Yeah.
Not 4-5. I'll take it.
Yeah.
What do you want to see this team do better? Because for me, it's simple. Joey, can we get those quarter-by-quarter splits up one more time, please? And thank you. Fourth quarter, your defense, balling out.
Balling.
95.2 defensive rating, the best in the NBA in the final and most important quarter.
Yeah.
Offensively, exact opposite story.
Yeah.
Dead last.
Yeah.
We talked a couple of times when we've seen it recently about DeMar facing those double teams, and once again, the Bulls struggling to pass out of those double teams to find maybe the extra swing pass to an open shooter out of those double teams. Unnecessary turnovers in the fourth quarter. I don't, which problem needs solving the most? I don't know. All I know is you're not going to be a very successful team that wins close games if you have the worst ranked offense in the league in the fourth quarter.
Oh, those are facts right there. Like, that's real talk. And again, that's why we have DeMar DeRozan, king in the fourth. He's supposed to be that salve that we needed. But as always, you're going to need your whole team to start winning games. And again, that's why a good thing why he's going through this, but they're still getting victories. So he'll come out of it, but they're still getting victories. What I want to see is the opposite of what he's saying, is the defense in the first quarter. That's what I want to see. I want them to stop letting these teams get off to these ridiculous starts. And they're just, bombing three-pointers on the Chicago Bulls, man. Any of these teams, any and all of them are getting off to these starts against the Bulls. The only one that didn't was Indiana. They did theirs in the third quarter. But teams are getting off to these ridiculous starts. I just need that to stop for one quarter. You know what I mean? Like, just get out on your rotations. I'm not asking you to be, world defenders and things like that, but just get out on your rotations, man, and get out on your man. Stop leaving them wide open. They're better than that. I just think the Bulls are better than that.
The thing that has impressed me about the Bulls is that they have gone down but have fought their way back into games. So I know they have that in them to be able to get stops and get scores when they're down. I think they just need to do it on both ends. It's like both of what you're saying. I don't know if I can add any more than that. Like, you guys hit it. Like, they need to be able to get off to better starts so that they don't have to dig themselves out of holes.
Yeah.
And then they need Zach and DeMar. They need Zach and DeMar to do what they do in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
And on nights where maybe it's not working for DeMar, you get Zach scoring 20 in the fourth.
That's it.
So we know the offensive rating can be good in the fourth.
Yep.
It's just about the consistency. I think, as I said before, in terms of Zach being in and on the lineup, Patrick just being up and down, DeMar being up and down, Kobe and Andre are out now. So it's a lot of moving parts. We saw when Zach LaVine got moved into that second unit, staggering DeMar and Zach at the sort of the bridge between the first and the second and the third and the fourth quarters. That has worked really well. I said this with Mark, and I think it's worth repeating again. Like, just because you found something that works doesn't mean that you shouldn't be willing to break that up to try to fit the rest of the pieces in the puzzle together. So they've got like one corner of the puzzle set, which is that bridge with that second unit. They still need to do some work sort of fitting the rest of those corners together so that they can be more consistent throughout the games. And maybe that means seeing DeMar more with that second unit or, whatever it may be. But they have the right pieces there. They've just got to like massage them into place.
I like that.
So before we get out of here, Joey, can we take a look at the Bulls' upcoming schedule? Here's the next 9. The Bulls have played 9. Here are the next 9. The Bulls will always tell you, hey, we take it one game at a time.
Got to.
The luxury we have, we don't have to take it one game at a time. There's the next 9 on deck. You see, starting tomorrow, you got to play Boston again.
Yeah.
You got to play Boston again a little ways further down there in November.
Right.
You got a back-to-back home and away against the Raptors, who are playing well, look strong, great defensive team, lengthy as hell.
True.
You got 2 against the Pelicans, who, no joke. You got the Nuggets and Jokic.
They serious.
Orlando, the one gimme game in your next 9.
They play the Bulls well, though.
They do. They do play the Bulls well. Handed the Bulls an L last year, if I recall.
A big one.
And then Milwaukee. at Milwaukee. First time you faced Giannis and the Bucks this season. That 9.
Undefeated.
That next 9. What do you need to see the Bulls do record-wise in that next 9? Because that's a tough 9.
Oh, win. That's what I need to see them do.
Would you be happy with another 5-4 in that 9?
Yeah.
Or are you going to ask for 6-3?
No, give me the 5-4. I'll take it. Yes, I want the 6-3. If you're going to give it, give me the 7-2.
Are you demanding 6-3?
I'm demanding you win as many games as you possibly can out of that. I think it'll be 5-4. I want 7-2. That's what I want. So I need them just to hit that stride, you know what I'm saying, sooner. Because I think as it gets later on that schedule, that's when it gets tough. Because like I said, Orlando, they plays them tough. All that length they is an issue. And Boston, they're a problem. And then right after that, you play Milwaukee, who is always tough. So, yeah, let's try to get these in, man. But the Bulls, honestly, I still believe they haven't played that team yet that I just looked at and said, they're just better than you. I haven't seen it yet. Even though they played Boston,
Cavs,
I didn't see it that. Oh, you know what? Excuse me. He's right.
Cavs
I'll take that back.
They
He's
are
right.
looking good.
The Cavs ran them. Cavs ran their ass. Yes, the
Destroyed
Cavs
them.
were absolutely better than them.
And they didn't even have Garland back yet when we played them.
They did not. You're absolutely
I do
right.
not want
Woo.
to play them again.
They look better because they were on fire out there. So yeah, they look serious for sure.
But to your point, the rest of it's true. And I think Boston and Milwaukee, both those teams they're going to be playing at least once over the next stretch here, are games that I think will tell me a lot about who and what this team is.
Yeah.
And if they can pull it together and go 5-4 in this stretch, I think that would be a real win. To be 2 games over 500, 18 games into the season.
Yeah.
I would even be okay with 4-5 just looking at how hard this stretch is here, but like they're going to have to start winning some tough games. And we look at some of the teams that they beat. Obviously, Boston is doing really well, but like the Heat are not having the season that we expected the Heat would have.
Yeah.
Philadelphia, they lost to. Brooklyn, they won, but obviously they're a dumpster fire right now. So they do have to do some more proving that they can beat some of these good teams.
Okay.
And Toronto is one of them. Boston is one of them. New Orleans is one of them. Denver, like these are all teams that if they can get out of this stretch 4-5, I'll feel like we learned something out of this team because just look at that schedule.
It's not fun.
It's brutal.
It's not fun.
It's brutal. Very good teams, some of whom you have to play twice.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. We got to go. We've got the CHGO Bears After Dark crew waiting in the wings, so we had to wrap up a little early tonight. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Keep it locked on right here. CHGO Sports YouTube channel for CHGO Bears After Dark. They're going to have some fun while we got Thursday Night Football going on. And then also we'll have some Blackhawks postgame for you guys after Blackhawks and Kings. Puck drop for that one is at 7:30, so we'll have postgame for you following that. But we got Bears After Dark. We got Eagles-Texans. Thursday Night Football. Follow us on Twitter, Will_Golly, Bow BWL Sports, Bull_Peck, Joey Spathis. We are CHGO_Bulls. Hit that thumbs up button before you head out if you haven't already. And we will talk to you for pregame tomorrow night. Woo! Bulls Celtics, 6:30 Central Time tip-off. That means we'll be here at pregame, 6 p.m.
Oh, I love a 6:30 tip.
Love a 6:30 tip.
Grandpa Willie.
For Joey, Will, and Big Dave, I'm Peck. Thank you guys for listening today and every day. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Love you. See you right. Be good.
Peace.